Leo! And in today's video, we're going to be going over December blessings. Whatever good things are coming your way, whether it be an interaction, something to be aware of, money, it could be specifically with your job, or maybe you're just going to be gifted some extra money, romance, whether you're currently with someone, how that's going, or if you are looking to meet someone, all the details and specifics will be covered. And also, as per usual, if there is something that maybe you didn't want to hear, wasn't the, what you exactly had in mind, listen to the whole reading. Here, we always look for solutions, understandings. Can we change that situation? What can we learn from it in order to more spin it in our direction? You get the whole gist. Either way, it's blessings all the way. As you can see, we have 4 groups in front of us. We have group number 1, Moonstone. Group number 2, Clear Quartz. Group number 3, Tiger's Eye, and group number 4, Onyx. I want you to pick the group that you resonate with most. Now that you've done that, you can go down the description where you can skip to your designated group and it's marked timestamp, but let's get started with group number 1. Group number 1, let's look at your December blessings by looking at the cards. We've got your oracle card, the Arrow. We have your affirmation card that we'll go over later. We've got Queen of Wands, the Sun card, Strength card, the Fool card, 8 of Pentacles, and the Hierophant in reverse. Give me a moment. This is a whole lot of information. Give me a second. Okay. Okay, where do I begin? First off, this is just a blanket statement. I was asking my spirit guide about orange, and asking, does it have, is it with the, I'm pretty sure it's with the sacral chakra, it's associated with that and everything, and I was asking if that was important or whatever, and they said, no, it is important for you this month, but it's not specifically associated with that. It's more like whenever you notice the color orange, try to go in that direction, explore it, see where it's taking you. It appears there's a lot of inspired action associated with this color, so just something to keep in mind for the month. But let's actually start with this oracle card, Arrow. This one is a particularly cute oracle card. It is about this idea that you are so aligned with your mind and your heart during December that you basically hit your target of something that you want. It's this sense of focus matched with alignment and bringing it all together with a clear intention of where you want to go. Basically, boom, magic happens. But I want you to keep that idea in mind and how it's all coming together with our affirmation card, because my spirit guide said these two are combined together. So the affirmation card says, I heal the habit of fear and I embrace the habit of love, which is so beautiful. And my spirit guide was going into more detail describing the idea of when you pull an arrow and you release it. So think of fear as this thing that we kind of need reassurance within ourselves. There's this feeling of okay, I'm not sure if I'm heading in the right direction. Out of fear, let me check this. And so it's acting as sort of a root, something that's your thinking is supporting you and helping you, but what it's actually doing is rooting you in one place. It's preventing you from a sense of evolution, skipping and moving to the next thing. It's planting you in one spot, and it's preventing you. So, if your one spot is out of that trajectory, this dream, this wish, this other person you'd like to be with or whatever, you'd like to have some mobility with you. So the habit of love is the connection we talked about with the mind and the heart. And when I'm talking about this, we're talking about love. We want to kind of dissect this a little bit so it's a little more clear for you during the month so you can focus on it. Love is inspired openness, this sense of freedom, this sense of trust. It's like, that's the thing I want to do. That's the person I feel connected to, whether it be a friend or a romantic partner. And there's this sense of like, yeah, I'll go do that. That feels great. I'm inspired. I feel excited about that. And there's not all this little background thought of like, well, what if this happens or what if that happens? You're just really clear. There's a sense of both pragmaticness with the mind and being like, I think I'll go take the train and see them tomorrow or whatever. But then at the same time, there's this kind of, you know how the heart has a lot of inexplainable motivation behind it. You're not always quite sure why you're drawn to something. You're not always quite sure why you want to go do that activity, and bringing those two together to make it happen. So when you think of the arrow being held back in the archer's bow, you think of that holding perspective is when it's tightened and you just keep it there. Think of that as, I don't know if I would want to compare that to the fear. Let's focus more on the idea of like when you release the bow and it's, going forward, it has no attachment to anything. It's totally free. Nothing could possibly hold it down. And so it gets to its ending destination very quickly and easily. And by having this mindset and less reassuring that part of you that needs to have reassurance because it's out of fear. And remember, when you talk to fear, you only get more fear. So the more and more you think you're helping it by coping with it and giving answers, you're basically saying to that part of yourself, oh, so you'll give me attention. And the more I ask it of you, the more I will become the habit that you foster. Over this month, you're going to really find it's a lot easier to connect again the heart and the mind and being really focused with your intention. And that then becomes the habit of love, which is really beautiful. I love that for you. So let's first start with, or going more into the tarot cards. We want to focus on some money stuff going on right here, which I love. So there's a lot of, and I can see this over here in the Sun card too, which is really beautiful, and these cards as well. There's this sense of like setting your heart on something and making it happen, which is really beautiful. It's this, I would almost compare it to like a video game. You know how a lot of people enjoy playing games because there's an excitement of saying, if I do something X amount of times, it gets me to the next level. I'm now upgraded in this. I now make so-and-so fake money in a game. You get what I'm saying here. And that's really exciting and fun, but we don't always have that sense of certainty and then having the world meet our expectations, especially when we want something to happen. Sometimes, like, let's say you want to start a business and the ingredients you need for the business don't show up in time. It just happens. You know what I mean? Well, this month, it seems like everything's coming together due to this motivation, and in the long term, that's going to benefit you. You're building a habit over December that's going to benefit you in the long term. Well, that sense of like clear destination and focus continues to happen in these three cards. So in the Strength card, you do have an upgrade in money, a payment upgrade. Let me just ask real quickly, is this specifically a promotion or more overnight, getting extra hours and opportunities to make more money? Can anyone make a promotion? Very few. Okay. We just want to be really clear here. So when these opportunities pop up, to get overtime or whatever, you take advantage of them. These are your opportunities where you're basically going to be getting extra money over December, which is really beautiful. But the reason why they are specifically popping up is due to the energy you're presenting over December. You just kind of are really coming into your own as like a grown-up. Now, I'm sure for some people that are watching who are of any certain age, they're like, I would consider myself a grown-up. I think we could all argue there are times in our life where we feel like we really have our life together and we like really know what we're doing and really in control of like our fate and stuff. And other times when we're like, I don't know what I'm doing. I have this a little bit understood, but not here, but I'm not really understanding. And think of grown-up as like really in charge of your own life in a very proactive, aware way. Think of it like that. And you really got that energy booming out of you over December. So you're just kind of like, yep, I've got this. I'm focused. I'm really clear. I'm cutting through any sort of friction that could pop up in my way. The universe comes and works with me. I hit my target, no problem. And this sort of clear, concise, very in control type of like, I've got this type of energy that's being presented to you. The universe is reflecting that with more opportunities of being like, oh, well, you're so responsible, you're so in charge of your life. Let me give you something that reflects that idea. And being someone who is responsible enough to take overtime to get that extra money when they need it. Do you see what I'm saying here? See the kind of like over the language going on for the universe. We are the universe reflecting ourselves, and this is like a perfect example of why it's popping up. And by understanding why it's popping up, you can use that to your advantage in the long run. Now, something to consider that's both a compliment of what you've accomplished this far, and is another reason as why you're getting this extra money, but also something to keep in mind as sort of like a light, and I say this very lightly, light warning to be aware of, so you can enjoy your December month and not get into your head, is over here in the Eight of Pentacles. So in the Eight of Pentacles, my spirit guide talks about how this is a time period where you're doing really well, and everything you've accomplished thus far and built up in order to be someone who, wherever you work, they're like, yeah, we want to give you more opportunities. We want to give you more overtime. We want to give you a second to get an extra bonus, so on and so forth. These moments are presenting themselves for you to make extra income. This is what you've accomplished in the Eight of Pentacles. You've done a lot of great work to build up in this point. But don't, out of fear, we talk about not giving into fear, think that you need to have the mindset of like when you're having a moment and being like, okay, I want to make sure everything's adding up, everything's working well to my advantage. Okay. Don't start, think of the outside imagery of the birds. They're flying, they're soaring free, they're relaxed, they're really enjoying the benefit of all their hard work over the years of learning how to fly and understand where to migrate and so on and so forth. Don't turn around and become this person who's going back and is like, let me fix what I've created. Let me just check it again. You've already done it. Don't think you need to go back again and check it. Don't get in your head of becoming I don't want to say a perfectionist. It's more thinking that there's something else left to be accomplished. You've accomplished it. Now we're on to the next stage, and the next stage is being given these opportunities. Enjoy these opportunities. But there is a chance out of being like, oh man, I'm so excited. I'm getting all these opportunities. Makes me think about what I've done thus far. Let me just look back at it. Let me think about this. Don't get in your head. Don't think about the past. Be excited about what you've done because it's added up and it's worked out well. Let yourself enjoy it, which is really great. So now we get into a little bit of the spiritual stuff going on here in the Fool card. I guess I could argue the Sun card's a little bit spiritual, but we'll go over that in a second. So spiritually wise, in the Fool card, it's really interesting. While there is a very clear, in kind of intense, decisive nature going on for you in this month in December, that's really benefiting you in a multiple ways of getting things done and attracting even more opportunity for you and so on and so forth, and making you feel really empowered in yourself and who you are and what you can accomplish. The Fool card's really beautiful because, again, it's that idea of you have a clear destination in mind. You're going to be like, okay, I want to go have fun and have this party. You have that mindset. You're going to go accomplish it. I think I'm going to get these errands done. You're going to go accomplish that. I think I'd like to learn about this thing. You're going to go accomplish that. But the Fool card spiritually has got a great vibe. I would highly recommend for anyone, but this is sort of the what you're going to be naturally connecting to this month, and it's really beautiful. This is someone who's not worried about the in-between details about how it's working out. This is very much closely tied to the arrow. The arrow just cuts through. It knows it's getting to its target. It doesn't worry about the trajectory, the angle, the air, the speed. If an obstacle comes in its way, there's no obstacle in its way. As far as it's concerned, it was pointed at its target and it's going to make it. This is very much your, again, decisive nature popping up. But it definitely has a really lovely free-spiritedness behind it because, again, when you go throughout this month and you're accomplishing a task, do not worry about the details. The Fool in the Fool card, allows each opportunity to pop up when it needs to pop up. So this is you in the beginning of the month being like, you know what? I'd like to earn some more money. I think that'd really make me feel great right now. I'm really vibing that and I'm ready for that. The opportunities present itself. Next week, they pop up. You didn't worry about how they were going to present itself, but they did. They presented themselves, and then you're enjoying it. And then you wait for the next opportunity. And all the while, you're reaching and getting your goal accomplished, but you're just not stressed out the whole time. So there's, again, empowerment, lots of, you've really got your stuff going, getting things done. You just don't feel stressed about it. Again, we talk about the Eight of Pentacles. You can see how they're reflecting each other as sort of a solution. The Eight of Pentacles is getting a little bit in their head and thinking, okay, okay, well, I made this happen because I, like, think of it, it's like, okay, I worked and did this at work, and once I accomplished these tasks, it gave me this opportunity. Maybe I should go do that again to get more hours next week. And the Fool card would go, no, don't need to worry about that. It all worked out as it was meant to. I don't need to do anything else. The next opportunity will present itself. I don't need to go back and force a moment that happened before to happen now, because unbeknownst to you, this is a little bit of side ramble, but like, you might not even be aware of what other factors added up in addition to the work you've accomplished. And we talk about the unseen forces here with your natural like vibe you're putting out into the world and what you're attracting to yourself. So you don't need to force something to be recreated. It will happen naturally on its own. You don't need to know the outer details of the universe. Now with the Hierophant in reverse, this is actually romance based. This is solely for couples. So it seems that during December, you guys are going to be trying some unconventional things out, both socially and romantically. Wait, both or some? Hold on, let me ask my spirit guide. Okay, so in some cases, because this is a general reading, in some cases, you guys are going to be like, okay, I'm, like, we're trying something. We normally have fun in this kind of way socially when we hang out with each other or other people, or maybe you're more an introvert and you are vibing to be with other people way more, that kind of vibe and thing. And for others, it's solely romantic. You're trying something new and exploring a different part of yourself and who you are. And for others, it is both. But unconventional is not bad or something where you need to really worry about the grander scope of what that means. Unconventional just means like not what you normally do or you think others do. This is a good month to kind of like put your concerns about being like, is this normal? Is this okay? Like, is this all right that we're doing this? Don't worry about that. You're exploring a new version of you with your partner, and it's going to be a good time. It's going to be, I would definitely say it seems like a very positive, fun, creative time period for the two of you. Now, I am asking my spirit guide about single people, but my spirit guide just says there's nothing really here for single people this month. This is more like a career-related or earning more money month for you, so just enjoy the extra money, and we'll talk about love another time. But I have two more little extra things I want to add in. So the Sun card's really beautiful because it's basically sort of vibe and theme of the month, which just means like the Sun card is like bliss, happiness, having a good time. Everything's turning up roses. You are on the greener side of the pastures. Think of it like that. And we already know that from all this good energy you're putting there, all your things you're being stimulated by making dreams come true within a radically short time period. You're receiving more money. Everything's really working out for you. And for some, there's a lot of creativity in even your romantic part of your life, which is really beautiful. But something to just consider with the Sun card, which is really fun and interesting, and again, just another confirmation of how like focused you are this month and getting things done, which is really beautiful, is normally the Sun card in its imagery is like somebody kind of in one little patch of paradise, having a grand old time. There's a sense of relaxation, and they're just kind of like having a good time, hanging out in their one place, and that's it. Nothing else needs to be said or done. But in this imagery, as you can see, we have them going down a river. They're like passing through. There will be a point that the paradise ends. I'm not implying it's going to end. I don't want to freak you out. It's more that there's a sense of like you're enjoying what you're doing and you're enjoying all the benefits in December, but this month is what's the opposite of stagnation? A lot of momentum. So even though you're having a good time this month from everything that's happening around you and for you and to you and with you and from you, there's this sense of like, oh yeah, I'm enjoying it and I'm still moving forward. I'm not allowing myself to get caught up in what is. There's this excitement of building upon it and saying, yeah, this is great. What about more? What about even better? So this is a great mantra to have for yourself throughout the month. What about more? What about even better? It's great now. Let's get excited for even more, which is really beautiful. And like I said, a very confident, happy, beautiful vibes. This would be the complete antithesis of the habit of fear. This is like taking fear, kicking it off the side of the road, and then putting on your magical crown and being like, okay, I am totally over all of that. Let's make all my dreams come true. And then last, this is a little bit of a random one. There will be an older female that will be helping you out this month. I did ask, like, what does this entail? Is there a certain age range that we should be aware of? My spirit guide said it doesn't matter. This older female could be 2 months older than you or 20 years. It doesn't really matter, but they will be popping up in your life. And it's something that won't make a lot of difference or in value immediately. It won't be like something acknowledged this month, but in the long term, you'll notice the benefit of the help they gave you. So it's less of that, sometimes we talk about, I'll mention if someone has like great wisdom and mentorship. It's not like that vibe. It's like they, popped up and they're like helping you rearrange your house type of vibe. It's very low key, very chill, not a big deal. But in the long term, you will look back and be like, wow, I'm so glad they helped me out with that. So just lots of support, lots of good things, lots of empowerment, good vibes here. So please let me know in the comments below how excited you are for December. Also consider giving this video a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I am wishing you the best. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Goodbye. Let's get ready for group number 2. Group number 2. Let's look at December blessings by looking at the cards. We've got the Undine cross. We have your affirmation card. We have 7 of Pentacles in reverse. Ooh, another 7. 7 of Swords in reverse. 6 of Swords in reverse. Ace of Wands in reverse. 2 of Wands in reverse. And 3 of Wands in reverse. Oh. Oh. Okay. Okay, well, I'm glad we're talking about this. Let me just get the rest of the information. Okay. Okay, let's get into this. So, hold on, let me push this little affirmation card a little bit higher up. Sorry, crystals. Okay. So this is listen to everything because it's all important. It's actually really good. There's nothing like, we're not talking about anything bad. This is all good stuff. But this is a month where things will feel like they're not working out or seem chaotic or things feel like they're almost out of your control or weird or off. But there's a bigger thing going on here. It is sort of that like hidden blessings type of thing. And I can get more specific as we describe everything. But I'm glad you're here because you will enjoy your month and realize like how cool it is and have a better place to focus your energy rather than getting kind of swept up in what might make you overthink your place in the world, how you like manifest, how you do things and everything like that. So it's all good, but we're helping you like focus on that so you don't get caught up and swept up in everything else. So, how do I want to go about doing this? We'll go over these 2 last and we'll do this first because this is kind of like abstract themes and things to focus on. And this is kind of more where we want to start at. So first, let's start with romance. This is for the 7 of Pentacles in reverse and the 7 of Swords in reverse. Both of these are for both single people and romantic people. So when we're talking about single people, we're talking about like wait, this counts for single people too? Okay, it's out there. I'm just double checking my spirit guide. So this would be someone approaching you. Like this would be like a new romantic partner approaching you. So it appears in the 7 of Pentacles in reverse, you're going to sort of have the power at that time. I don't like to view relationships like that on a personal note, but when we have a 7 of Pentacles in reverse situation, somebody is letting you know, hey, here you go. This is how, this is what I want. This is how I'm feeling. I'm putting all my cards on the table. And then the other person makes the decision. Like one person is saying, this is what I want and waiting for the other person's reply. In this case, it will be the opposite person, not you, but the person presenting something to you, being like, this is what's up. This is what I'm all about. And then from you, you're making a decision of like, what do you want to do about that information? So this is like a pretty like large concept. This could be like the idea of like getting together. This could be the idea of staying together, but this can also be the idea of someone saying like, these are concepts I'd like to explore as we continue on in our relationship, what do you think about this? I'm into this, this, and this. And you kind of just feeling it out and deciding. Either way, you will be the one making the decision. So there will be a nice little exchange of understanding where your other person is coming from and like being like, okay, cool, I better understand you. This is not one of those tarot card readings where your partner's closed off. It's quite the opposite. They are emotionally and intellectually putting themselves out there and letting you know what's up. And then you're the one that's going to decide from there, like, how do you feel about it? What do you want to do with it? And that's just really honestly your own choice to make. But it will be an extra relief because some of that information that's being presented to you in the Seven of Swords in reverse was a secret and was hidden and was not spoken about prior in the relationship. So when that secret is revealed, and I did double check with my spirit guide, like, is this going to be something that's upsetting? You know what I mean? Like when somebody cheats on somebody else and they're like, hey, I was with someone else. Do you still want to be with me? It's not like that. And my spirit guide's like shaking their head like, no. It's actually would be much happier news. It's like you can tell someone they're not telling you something and then they tell you and it's like, I didn't know how to tell you this, but I secretly love this. And you're like, oh, well, that's fine. And they're like, and I really want to spend more time enjoying that with you. And you're like, yeah, sure, cool, I got to know you better, awesome. So get excited to get to know your partner a little bit better. And if that matters to you, you're going to be sort of the person deciding where everything goes next, which is really great and fun. But sometimes can feel like a, big thing. Either way, get excited. So now we go on to money. This is where that idea of like chaos really comes in. I guess this is definitely chaotic too, because I feel like when you're being presented this information and they're telling you, I haven't told you this before, this is where I want things to go, that feels very like chaotic, something bigger, but then it's not. You know what I mean? Well, anyway, I don't mean to get off track here. Let's focus again on money. So it appears that you're going to get an idea over this month, which is really cool and exciting. A new trajectory of like, oh, I want to do this. Maybe this is a side hustle or like a big new job or something like that. Whatever it is, it's this idea of like, I want to explore this. Now you are being suggested, despite this new exciting idea you have, don't explore it this month, point blank. I know that sounds like a weird thing to pop up in a reading, but it's really important why. So things are going to happen over here in the Six of Swords in reverse. Unseen forces are going to prevent this dream from being fully explored or kind of like being dove into. We can use the idea, like, let's say you're trying to order supplies to start a mini side business, and when you get the materials, or they get lost in the mail, or they don't come to you in the way that you thought they were shown in the picture. And things just keep seeming to mess up. Now, this will discourage the idea and make you feel like maybe it isn't a good idea. It isn't a good, maybe this isn't the side thing you should explore, and maybe you should just let it go. It wasn't meant to be, and kind of be very discouraging and not like a fun way to start the new year. But here's the thing, and this is why I'm so happy you're here and we're discussing this. This doesn't mean you can't ever explore it. It's just because unseen forces are popping up, preventing it, and you're kind of ignoring the signs from the universe of like, now's not a good time, this is why things aren't working out. Those are your signs of when something doesn't show up in the mail. That's the universe saying now's not the time to explore it right now. You don't need to know why it's not a good time, but it's beneficial if you start another time. So I'm trying to slow you down to kind of like let you know, don't explore it now. So this is like ultimately a good thing it's not a good time, and you can explore it another month. But right now, just get excited, have the dream. But if you keep trying to force it and make it happen, you're just going to get discouraged and then not want to do it at all. So just get excited. You're going to have this idea, be like, wow, I want to try this. Know in advance, hey, let me save the hassle of myself of being like frustrated and kind of like not loving how it all turns out and explores. And understand that even though you don't explore this and you explored another month, the way I want to say this is there's a timing thing going on here. Timing is going to pop up again when we talk about this oracle card. There's a reason why things are not meant to be this month for a good, I'm trying to ask why, but this is a bigger cosmic idea. You're going to look back and be like, wow, that was a blessing that I started later, because that means I avoided X, Y, and Z. You get what I'm saying here? And so you can both save both the time and listen to the universe helping you out and start this idea another time period, a better time period, a month from now. And you can also save yourself the hassle of being disappointed. So we're trying to keep that dream and new idea alive, and we're simultaneously saving yourself the hassle. But understand that it is all ultimately a blessing and working in your favor, not against you. Again, it's just a timing thing, not to be redundant. And then over here, this is a bit of a spiritual thing and something interesting. Again, a chaotic feeling underneath it, but all meant to be. So in the Three of Wands in reverse, you're going to have a bit of an issue getting in contact with people. This is mostly a technology problem, my spirit guide said. So this is like sending a text and for whatever reason it doesn't go through. Trying to connect to someone's phone and it just drops and it's not working out. Trying to reach out to someone and then your phone suddenly drops battery and stuff like that. By the way, fun fact, this is a super common thing to happen to people who are like very psychically like woke. They accidentally drain batteries, which is really interesting. It doesn't mean you have to drain batteries for proof that you are very psychically woke, but that is a thing that can happen. I actually, sometimes when I like talk to people on the phone, their phone will shut off and they'll be like, I had 20% of battery life left. What happened? So anyways, this is again a blessing. You are not meant to speak to these people at this time. We're not saying a bigger picture of like, don't talk to them ever again or whatever, but what seems like disconnect, don't give in to loneliness or think something's off or you're being excluded. You're sort of, again, being aided by the universe to not be disconnected from these people, to be left alone from this situation for a good reason. So again, when you have these moments where you're like, man, things aren't working out, man, I can't get in contact with anyone, it's like, oh wait, that's how it's meant to be. If I did get in contact with them, I wouldn't be really happy with the results right now. They're not in the best place to speak. Hey, if I started my business now, I'd have to deal with X, Y, and Z. I'm so glad I don't have to deal with X, Y, and Z. I'm so glad I get to see the version of my friends and so on and so forth when they are more up to being social. You get what I'm saying here? So don't give in to loneliness. See it as a blessing, because it is. And then over here, same thing with the Two of Wands in reverse. So with the Two of Wands in reverse, again, there's this feeling of like you're planning, you're kind of ready to kind of go out with an idea. Is this with the career? Okay, so is it both or some? Both. Okay, cool. So my spirit guide says this sort of energy, Two of Wands in reverse, is like you've been planning and working towards something, but you're sort of stagnant and making excuses for yourself and over planning in order to prevent yourself from moving forward. And you kind of need to like, it's like saying you've organized enough, now it's time to move forward. My spirit guide says that it is associated to this idea of like over planning and thinking a little too much with the Ace of Wands in reverse, which is our idea popping up, this new great idea you have to make more money and have fun with the side business and so on and so forth. But again, this gives us a hint that while it might not be a good idea for you to venture after you get this new idea, it also doesn't mean that you should sit in your mind and overplan and overplan and overplan. That's another thing. But also, what was the other thing I just said to my spirit guide? I'm totally blanking. It was the idea of, they said lifestyle. They said, when people are like, you know what, new year, new me, I'm gonna start doing this type of exercise. I'm gonna start doing this beneficial thing for myself. It's this idea like you're kind of building up this main character story you'd like to exhibit in your life. But then unfortunately you keep telling yourself, I'm gonna do this. You keep telling yourself, I'm gonna do this. There's this sense of energy where it's like there's a good intention, but you're sort of sitting in the good intention too much that you're gonna kind of drive yourself a little nuts. So in order to avoid that, the Two of Wands in reverse says there's nothing wrong with having like a basic plan when you have this great idea and saying like, this is what I want to do in the long term. And there's nothing wrong with, sort of setting out that expectation of being like, you know what, I want to start doing this every morning. I want to build this type of routine. Again, basic plan. But you're not being told this month to then go enact in that plan and make it happen, stop talking about it. You're actually being suggested to make said basic plan. Basic plan is more than enough. You're good, you're solid. But actually kind of sort of take a break from it. It's like you make the plan, but you stop lamenting over it and you stop focusing on whether you're doing it or not doing it, and kind of just almost put it to side until January. Just be like, you know what? I'm going to enjoy the rest of the month over December. I'm going maybe again, we talk about the idea of like getting really fit and stuff. Maybe you're just going to enjoy yourself and have food and not overthink the whole thing. Give yourself a month to just kind of relax and hang out, and then approach it again in January. So this will prevent you from getting, again, same idea as we talked about this before, discouraged, too in your head. Right now is a month where you're sort of meant to build up energy through relaxation, through seeing the bigger picture, through realizing, I'm kind of getting ideas, I'm getting some plans in mind, but then I'm also simultaneously putting them on the side, having fun, relaxing, chilling out, just kind of like this nice little waiting period that's sort of building you up for the future, which is really nice and beautiful. And I want you to keep that in mind with our last two oracle cards I want to go over. So the affirmation card, when I'm tuned in to the energy of abundance, I become abundant. This is sort of a mantra you're pre-preparing into your subconscious. You can do this through subliminal messages you can create for yourself. You just say it to yourself every morning, but you're correcting yourself speech-wise and going, you know what? I am so abundant. Everything always works out in my favor. I always have the most options of everything. I always get the most amount of people wanting to see what I have to offer, and I can easily offer it to them. You get what I'm saying? And as you're sort of building up that sort of mentality over the month, it's not about then putting that stress upon yourself and forcing it to be into action. Again, we talk about all this month, you sort of being hindered by the universe for your own good to prevent things moving out. It's like you're setting up ideas, but you're being kind of stalled a little bit, and you're going to be happier starting it at another time period. So what do you do during that stalling time period? You build up a really great core subconscious belief system. That idea with a subconscious belief system can be extended upon in a very meta abstract way, but is a really great life lesson for anyone to think about when we have what's going on over here in this oracle card with the oracle card Andine Cross. Sorry about this. My spirit guide said we're specifically focusing on the idea of time not being linear. That's the main idea of this. So again, it's really easy to think about, when I accomplish one goal, or when I have a goal in mind, here's the end point, here's where I'm starting, everything needs to work out, all ducks in a row, everything has to be perfect, because I can only understand that if I get to where I need to get to, it needs to look like a straight path. You're building, especially when we talk about things working out in mysterious ways, this is very much a non-linear idea we're talking about again. And by accepting and understanding this idea, I'm about to explain what that idea means to be a little more exact. By understanding and connecting to that idea, you save yourself the grief of thinking you somehow failed in the long term of your future, and you just enjoy the process a lot more and end up having success and kind of knowing you were always destined for success, whatever your focus is, whether it be a career or spiritually improving yourself and so on and so forth. So when I talk about the idea of like a non-linear line, think of yourself as like, okay, I want to get to point A to point B, and that final destination line is this best version of yourself. You have you have your side career. Maybe the side career becomes your full-time career. You're really connected to your partner and so on and so forth. Now, a lot of people, and especially society, deeply conditions you to believe there's one way it all kind of happens. But what if you were meant to not be working at your job that you're currently working at? Like what initially feels like, oh man, and not to be like, maybe this is too sensitive. For whatever reason, it doesn't work out at your current job. And then you're forced to focus on your side hustle. And then when you're at your side hustle, you end up meeting the love of your life. And then from your side hustle growing and you having the love of your life over time through all of a sudden having to go back to your first career, which ends up helping out your side career, you end up becoming somebody who better understands themselves and is able to then enact and forced to take on a new routine. And before you know it, you're taking on that new routine you were hoping to install into your life. And it's this thing where things didn't happen the way you thought they did. Many times it sometimes can look like you're going backwards, but instead you're actually always going forward. So instead of it going straight, you're going ooh, 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 but you're never going backwards. It's just not the path you thought it would necessarily look at. And so the more you're relaxed and realizing like it's all working out and you'll just get there in the end, the less you kind of like beat yourself up and get really hard on yourself if the thing you thought would happen next doesn't. Instead, your mantra isn't, oh, that thing didn't happen out next. It's like, who says I'm still not going to get there? Time's not linear. Who cares? We got this. It'll pop up the way it needs to pop up. I know time being linear makes not a lot of sense when I talk about the idea of a path and thing. Non-linear time is more like a spirit realm thing. I'm trying to excuse my vocabulary is what I'm saying. Think of the path as not linear. But technically, oh man, I'm going to get too meta. You know what? Another time, another video. I'll get too wordy. I'm trying not to get too wordy. Anyways, please let me know in the comments below how you're already adapting this mindset. I would love to know. I am wishing you the best. Give this video a like, a subscribe, hit that notification bell. I am wishing you the best. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And let's get ready for our next group. Group number 3. Group number 3. Let's look at those December blessings by looking at the cards. We have one of your oracle cards, Pachamama. We have an affirmation card we will go over in a moment. We have the Death card in reverse, Knight of Pentacles upright, the World card in reverse, 10 of Pentacles in reverse, King of Pentacles in reverse, and the Star card upright. I'm just getting all the information. Just give me a second. This is a lot of information. Oh, interesting. I would definitely define this month as you getting back on track with who you really are. It's like a sense of like pausing and being like, what do I really want? Who am I? What does that mean to me and how I want to approach things in life? This is like a bigger type of question, and understanding when there is something happening around you, it is a reflection of something you're trying to work out on the inside. So let's look at everything. I am going to go over these oracle cards afterwards because they will make better sense in relationship to what's going on here. So first, let's start with money. Okay, so in the World card in reverse, this represents this idea of like you getting a new job. Maybe you're trying to get a job. Maybe this is a promotion or something you've been working towards. It's something big, and there is a hindrance going on in this month. Now remember, when we talk about monthly blessings, if there is anything that is like, oh, that's not how I wanted to hear it, you can change things and make things work to your benefit. It is okay to hear when something isn't working out, because by us understanding why isn't it working out, we can fix it. So that being the World card in reverse implies you're almost there, you're almost going to get this new job, you're almost going to get this job or get this promotion, but something is preventing it. It's like one final thing. What is that one final thing, you may ask? Well, there's a sort of reassessing your values going on in the Knight of Pentacles. The Knight representing this idea of slowing it down. You feel like it's been taking a while. Does it feel like it's been taking a while or is taking a while? Both. Okay, cool. My spirit guide was just answering me. But when we talk about values, my spirit guide says that you need to ask yourself, why is it that you want this promotion? Why is it that you want this job? Now, yes, of course, probably the baseline answer is going to be money, more money. But it's about being like, do you like the thing you're doing? Do you feel that when you have it, you will feel more accomplished? And these are not questions of defiance. It's more this idea like sometimes it really betters people to feel like if they have a leadership position, they realize, when I am a leader in this career in my life, I feel like a leader in my own life. And that's valid and that's beautiful. But by acknowledging That's one of the reasons why you want it. By connecting to that greater, like, what is it that you want out of this situation? That's that final thing that's just waiting. That's the thing that's going to tip it over and enable you to get it. But the hindrance, the sense of like, man, I think I'm doing everything right. Why does it feel like I'm almost there? And it just keeps kind of escaping out of my grasp. Oh, I'm always almost right there. This is the almost, and we can understand why. So definitely consider taking a moment to think about the job that you want, this thing. What is it that you think you're going to get out of it spiritually or emotionally, or maybe out of a passion, the thing that you love? And if you've already known for a while, like let's say you have a career you're really into and you like, you already or have been in this field for a while, you really love it, you're like, I like helping people, maybe that's like your job. If that is something you already know and you're still not getting that new job, that's not the answer then. It's like, well, why is this place going to make it better compared to another place? And if you don't have an answer for that, it's time to sit down and start asking yourself those questions of like, what do you want? Setting sort of a trajectory. You get what I'm saying here? Now over here, we have a spiritual thing going on. In the Ten of Pentacles, by the way, I have to just take one moment. Look at this goofy Ten of Pentacles. Does this dog like have children? Like, I don't know. I'm not going to question it, but I love it. Because the Ten of Pentacles is all about like ancestry, inheritance. It's like this big family type of money concept. But I want to focus on the idea that my spirit guide is talking about with the King of Pentacles in reverse and the Ten of Pentacles in reverse and the Star card upright. So over here, this talks about this idea of squandering your attention and your energy recklessly in a direction that, well, clearly it's not working if the term my spirit guide is using is squandering. So what we're talking about here is you're really focusing too much time into an area in your life that isn't really benefiting you in the long run. Imagine you have like a friend that you don't really feel that like amazingly close with. You're just kind of out of more boredom, giving them a lot of your attention and time, and asking yourself, like, what are you doing? Like, this isn't really making you happy. This isn't really giving you more value in your life. Again, you hear that concept of being reflected again, value, that idea of what is it that's offbeat? What is it that is being wasted, not acknowledged? You get what I'm saying? See how it's sort of a repeating factor going on? We can definitely face and assess, which is really beautiful, because beautiful as in like it's totally reshapeable, not a problem. But that idea gets extended over here in the King of Pentacles in reverse. My spirit guide says that a lot of the motivation as to why you're doing this over this month, and again, you can prevent this, you can change this story and narrative, is because of deep conditioning. Again, let's use the metaphor of like a friend you're not really close with. Well, I can't just hang up with them. They called me and it would be so rude at this given moment in time to cut them off in an important story they're telling me. Well, you're never going to be that age or be on that day or that moment in time. You're never going to get back again. And you're freely just giving this out to this other person. It's not benefiting you. You don't really feel like a long-term sense of connection. You're just kind of idling time away. What are you doing? And this isn't just for like a friend that you don't feel close to. It can be just like wasting time scrolling on your phone too much. There's nothing wrong with like being really into videos and like playing games, but like if you just feel like, what am I doing? Why am I just continuously scrolling? I'm not really enjoying anything that I'm going through. So what am I doing? It's that type of reassessment. But the King of Pentacles talks specifically about social norms and feeling like you just kind of can't help but be in this circumstance. And then when we go to the Star card and how it all comes together, the Star card, my spirit guide said, is the sense of getting realigned with truly who are you, what do you want to do with your time, and where do you want to put your attention. The main thing going on spiritually here is redirecting and focusing your energy this month on being like, okay, where do I want to put this energy? And it's like you've been in a fog, and the beginning of this month and the beginning of this fog is the attention being wasted somewhere else and thinking you need to live up to social norms, and just kind of waking up and going, you know, it's not rude to cut someone off and say, I gotta go. But I asked you to listen to my story. Yeah, but isn't it rude for you to expect and take that time for me. You don't even, this isn't a conversation you're having with them. We're talking about like the grander idea going on narratively in your in your mind, in your head. So this is you waking up, freeing yourself of this, and then suddenly starting to go, if prolonged focused attention is that important to my being, who am I? Where do I want it to go? And what makes me truly happy? And don't underestimate the simple things. If it makes you really happy to watch, again, we're using watching as a thing. Instead of scrolling constantly, you want to watch the same old, you have a couple movies you love watching over and over again, then watch them. That is giving you value and happiness, and that is where you feel most connected to. There's a reason you're being drawn there. That's better to go there than, again, the constant scrolling, the listening to the friend you don't have a lot of value in, which is really beautiful, the whole waking up concept. Now, last but not least, and we're going to go over the oracle cards. They're very important. But I want to talk about the death card in reverse. This talks romantically, and we are focusing on romance. Someone from your past popping up. But I want you to think about this and consider this. When we get this card compared to the Six of Cups in reverse, it's got a different flavor. When this card pops up, it implies something is destined and set in motion, and it's too late. We got another destiny card going on here, major destiny vibes. We see your life being majorly renovated over the month of December by just inwardly looking at some things and asking yourself some questions. Do I like where I'm going? How do I want to spend my time? So on and so forth. You get the greater idea here and the sense of reconnection. When someone pops back up in your life, this is a reflection of what's going on around you. It doesn't mean, and the importance over here isn't that this person is the love of your life, you should go talk to them. This decision of them popping up and how you want to interact with them and where you want to go going forward is its like own separate thing. But what's important to understand is, why are they popping up? They're popping up because they hold a place that reflects a certain thing in your life. Maybe this ex or this person you once romantically were entangled with was a happy time period in your life. And this is sort of the universe giving you sort of a hint or an Easter egg or a clue saying, hey, remember how much happier you were at that time in your life? What were some of the things you were doing in contrast to now, and would you like to consider being in touch with that? Maybe they are somebody who kind of really put you in a position to compromise how you wanted to express yourself. That's being reflected because you're compromising yourself here. Either way, it is a hint and a clue from the universe of saying, I'm going to keep throwing clues into your face until you realize and stop and reassess yourself. Now, the idea of reassessment gets extended over here, and we can greater understand and explore this idea when you're asking yourself questions. Over here, with the affirmation card, it says, my greatest spiritual shifts don't come through force, they come through freedom. Are you forcing yourself to fit a mold? And it doesn't mean you can't, go into that job, go into that field, but are you forcing something? Being in touch with who you are is the freedom and opening of the path, which then allows the universe to say, hey, we want to give her that job. She's open and ready and receiving now. She's not forcing it to happen. She's ready for it to happen. Or he, or whoever's listening to this reading. Sorry, I went for that pronoun she. But anyways, going on, continuing off of this, same thing over here. Are you forcing yourself? Is anything dynamic happening in your life because you're forcing yourself to do something you don't want to do? From having that freedom, notice that reconnection with yourself, that reconnection with the sense of the universe, all of that beautiful jazz. Again, that sense of freedom. That idea of freedom gets extended over here in this card. My spirit guide said the main thing that they wanted me to focus on when talking about this oracle card was the idea of unconditional love. But this is something really important about the unconditional love idea and something to consider. This is like taking the idea of freedom, these ideas, and we're talking on a more grander scale. So unconditional love is being able to look at anyone, anything, and no matter what they are giving you, understanding that whatever is being presented to you is a shell. That shell has been comprised of past experiences, ancestry grief, experiences with family members, whatever's happened to them, prior engagements, whatever. It's usually very past related. But whatever it is, that is just a shell. Every single person on the inside of them, there's the best version of them, their higher self. and being able to look through all of that, be free of what you think is being presented to you, what you think is the only option to respond, and just being totally excited and happy. And again, I don't mean to be redundant, but feeling free, realizing I don't have to defend myself. I don't have to be offended. I can just love you. And again, you can spend all December loving people and seeing that great idea, but we're talking about the idea of unconditional love for yourself. Can you look through the various layers and shells that you have had thrusted upon you and cut through all of that and see the perfect divine being you always have been and always will be, no matter what you have been through or will be through? Can you connect to that and realize how free you've always been and how free you can allow yourself to be? We're reconnecting this month and allowing ourselves to be what we already were. So I hope this all connects and makes sense. And realizing how when we connect to that, it reflects on the outside. So very beautiful. Please let me know in the comments below what you think. Give this video a like, a subscribe, hit that notification bell. It helps out like you would not believe. I am wishing you the best, and let's get ready for our last group. Group number 4. Group number 4. Let's look at those December blessings by looking at the cards. We've got the Oracle card Hunter. We have an affirmation card we will go over later. We've got 9 of Cups in reverse, Justice card in reverse, the Moon card, the High Priestess card upright, 9 of Wands upright, and King of Wands in reverse. I'm just looking at everything to get all of the wonderful information. It has a bit of a circle element to it, which is really fun. Okay, let's get into it. So this is going to be read chronologically, which is fun. Let's first start off with money. Now, I want you to keep an open mind, definitely because you need to hear everything in order to see how it all connects back together and is all, interconnected. But also, this might be a little difficult to hear initially, but I want you just to consider things, because if we consider them, we can overcome them. Not a big deal. So first, let's talk about the Justice card in reverse and in relationship to the 9 of Cups in reverse. I can see there's clearly what you want, so to speak. Maybe there's something specific you want to buy, a goal you have in mind related to money in your career or whatever, but there's this sense of displacement when it's in reverse. There's this idea that there is a catch being put onto it, this mentality of compromising the thing you want. And there's a hindrance to you sort of asking for what you want over December and getting it, whether it be a good shift, or maybe you'd like overtime and you're not getting it, or you'd like this promotion. December is not the month you want to ask for anything. You are sort of out of favor, not your most likable. When I talk about likability factor, when the cards are in certain placements and you get certain collection of cards, it implies, oh my gosh, you were so well liked during this time period. If you could ask for anything and get it, go ask for it. This would be the opposite. I'm not talking about people hating you. It's just more like you just don't have the most inviting vibe at this moment. Now, the problem is a karmic problem. What I mean by when I say that is, when we have issues that existed in previous lifetimes, they can repeat themselves. This is an explanation. I actually have a whole Spiritual Talks video in my Spiritual Talks playlist. I highly recommend checking out. It talks about past lives and talks about all of this in greater detail. But this can be an explanation for irrational fears, or we don't understand why we just are a certain way. It's just there's this belief of I guess that's just who I am. Well, there's a reason as to why you are and why something repeats. It repeats because you're meant to overcome it and then no longer let it plague you and affect you, and then move on, which is great. So karmically, what's been adding up here is there's this sort of offness. It's sort of like a perspective thing. it's like, oh, I've been doing all of this work and this is so frustrating. They're taking advantage of me. I should be getting X, Y, and Z. This is so frustrating. Now, that is understandable, especially if you're in an occupation that isn't treating you fairly, because that does happen quite a bit, unfortunately. And so that makes sense. But because you're so focused on kind of like what you're owed type of mentality, and there's this thing of like, I did this, I should get this. It's sort of an already unwelcoming sort of vibe. And I'm not talking about an unwelcoming vibe and worrying about bothering your boss or whoever you need to ask permission from to get these extra things you want. It's more you're seeing yourself in a lacking mindset, as if like, I don't trust that everything's going to work out in the future. I don't trust that I'm going to be rewarded for my hard work, and seeing your own life as a bartering system. You get what I'm saying here? You're even bartering with your dreams. See how it's reflecting in that? And there's this disconnect and this sort of not a good time. You're not going to get the thing you want. December's more of a month for you to be aware of this, acknowledge it, overcome it, and so that then in January you can ask for more and you can get more of what you want. To be fair though, I am a big believer of like the quicker you kind of face whatever issues ailing you and then you overcome it, the quicker you can make it happen. So who knows? In December, even now, like listening to this reading, the more you're like facing that and changing your perspective, the sooner you can then go up and ask, your boss or whoever and say, hey, I'd like some extra time, I'd like some extra money, I'd like this promotion, whatever. And you would be in better favor because you no longer see it as a bartering system, but you're already worth it. You're already hardworking. You don't need proof that you're hardworking, and so forth, your perspective on the whole thing. You're not bartering anymore. You're clear cut. You feel good about yourself. You feel good about the universe and how it will treat you. Keep that in mind as we come back to these cards. It's going to reflect around. So totally fixable, totally changeable, but if you feel like you're struggling with that over the month, just don't ask for anything. You're going to be pretty disappointed and it'll just frustrate you more, and you don't need that. So going on. But the good thing is nothing bad's like happening. Nothing's, you're just not exactly getting the thing you want to ask for. So anyways, let's focus on love. So in the month of December, I do see a secret admirer, which is very cute, but they are not going to reveal themselves right away. Oh, that's so cute. Sorry, my spirit guide was telling me this, but I'm seeing the imagery in the moon of how she's like turning away. She isn't quite showing herself yet, so I'm seeing the imagery. Anyway, so in the moon card, this is the representation of a secret admirer, someone liking you, thinking they're crushing on you, but they haven't quite built up the courage to let you know about it yet. However, that doesn't mean you necessarily don't know about them. Questioning my spirit guide 1 second. Okay, sorry, I'm asking my spirit guide some stuff. Because the second card is, the High Priestess card is somebody is going to come to you though and go, hey, someone's got a crush on you. And I was asking my spirit guide, does that then mean that you might not have the identity revealed to you by the person itself, but with this other person? And my spirit guide said, no, they're going to keep it a secret. It's like they're friends, so, they're not going to talk about it. But my spirit guide said it's actually really important you pay attention to this person and the way they're sort of revealing this information to you, because you're actually getting a lot of insightful wisdom from them. And we're talking about grander ideas. This could be the idea of like how love is approached. This could be perspectives on life. Like maybe you could take away from it the philosophy of like, hey, when they didn't present a lot of information, that didn't prevent the other person from liking me less or anything. Again, we talk about the bartering system. The way this person is expressing information and talking about things, there's a lot of wisdom they're going to be carrying that you're going to get a lot of value from. So definitely pay attention to that encounter and kind of pick it apart in a helpful way for yourself. But they'll kind of pop up and be like, hey, someone has a crush on you, but it's just not going to be revealed over the month of December yet. They're not like, they're building up the ability to let you know what's up. Now over here we have our spiritual thing going on, and that idea of spirituality continues on back into this. So the King of Wands in reverse talks about this idea that you are sort of not allowing yourself. Oh my goodness, I see the connection even more. I'm sorry, I'm just like connecting because my spirit guide tells me a bunch of things and I'm just like, okay. And then as I'm like reading it to you, I'm also making additional connections. So it's super fun. So anyways, the King of Wands in reverse talks about this idea that you think you can't have fun to get work done. That idea continues on over here with the Nine of Wands upright. This is somebody who's like almost at their goal. They're almost there. Again, when we talk about the Nine of Cups being like an almost, like a wish that you're almost there, but there's a catch. You're putting a catch on it. Well, over here, sorry, I'm just noticing something over there. Anyways, so with this card over here, this talks about the idea that, sorry about that interruption. Anyway, going on. So the Nine of Wands talks about this idea that you're like almost there. You're almost at the finish line, but you've kind of been through a lot. So it feels very difficult to accept and see that you're almost at the finishing line. The hindrance is looking at the past and seeing like, oh my goodness, I've been through so much. I don't feel like the person I once was in the very beginning when I was seeking out this thing I wanted. Again, this feels very much like a reflection of the attitude in the Justice card in reverse and feeling like something's owed to you. You've been through so much, you kind of feel disconnected from the version of you that like wanted this career, wanted this dream, or whatever may have you. So with what's going on over here, we have somebody who's like not having fun. They're allowing the past to grief them, and this is sort of holding you back. But the thing that's really fun and cool here is with both the Nine of Wands being in existence and the King of Wands existing at all. See, the King of Wands is awesome. He is so smart and tactile, gets so much stuff done, but a lot of people might perceive him as someone that's almost like kind of airheady, or just like so silly and having a good time that it's like, oh, they don't possibly have a plan or know what they're exactly doing. When in reality, the King of Wands is like, I know how to make everyone have a good time, and then we end up getting more work done, and then we end up accomplishing our task. So yeah, I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm just not a curmudgeon. I have a good, not that you're not a curmudgeon, by the way. I'm just saying the King of Wands talks about the value of having a good time and still accomplishing things and being fully aware. They're just really giving into the value of the free-flowing feeling of being silly and realizing you can get inspiration from that. You can accomplish more if you're having a good time, so on and so forth. And then with the Nine of Wands, this implies like, oh my goodness, you're almost there. You're almost there, and you've done all the work you need to do. Now you can kind of just have that free-flowing attitude like we talk about with the King of Wands having the flowingness of fun. But the Nine of Wands says you're almost there. It's time for the universe to finish the rest. They're going to take you to the next spot. It's time for you to trust it's all going to work out okay. You've done more than enough to get you to the spot you're at now, but the universe clearly sees where you're headed. Now it's time to back away and let things work out as they may, because it will work out in your favor. You're going to be really happy with how it works out. You're almost there, but the last lesson you kind of need to learn in your long journey is that sometimes you don't always need to be the factor or the person controlling it and making it happen next. The Justice card being very controlling factor, very coming from a fear and distrusting place of mind, a very lacking place of mind. Now, this is where it all comes together. So, the King of Wands, my spirit guide said, is really associated with the I accept this affirmation card. I accept that good things come easily, and I'm a super attractor. Super attractor is like, oh yeah, I don't need to worry about that. I don't need to know about the details. Everything I do will automatically work out for me. They don't barter with success. In fact, they're a believer of they can do a little and get a lot. See the totally opposite attitude over here? They're a believer of I don't need to know what happens next, because in the end I will always have it happen to me. So I'm more focused on the present than worried about the future. And concerned about how it's affected me in the past. As far as I'm concerned, right now I'm a super attractor. And if you're always in the now, then you're always, if you want to think of it in a future sense, you're always super attracting. So going on to that idea, this is where the Hunter Oracle card comes into play, and you can see how it all loops back around. So the Hunter is somebody who is aware that when they need to go out and get food, they don't need to take more than they need. They trust that when they get food, it will accomplish and give them everything they need, make them totally happy, but they don't need to worry about like, well, what if too much of their food resource is gone? Or what about next week? They trust and know they'll get what they need next week, and they trust and know what they have will be enough. They don't need to plan ahead for the future. There's just a sense of like being connected to the earth and the universe and themselves, and again, this sense of trust within themselves, this idea that it's all going to work out. Again, they're not concerned of being like, okay, I got to do X amount of work and get X amount of food. Nothing is guaranteed from that mentality. But everything is guaranteed with the right attitude and fun spirit. It's time to break free. What wasn't working before, or what wasn't working now, wasn't working before, and it's time for something brand new that will not only accomplish your goals and give you everything you want, but ultimately make you feel really happy and help you reconnect with a part of yourself maybe you haven't explored as much as you need, which is just having a good time and still getting everything done that you wanted. But by the end of it, instead of being like, I got that thing I wanted, this sense of fun of being like, oh yeah, I had a good time and I did all of this stuff. I really could do it all again. It was like a game. You get what I'm saying here? Again, trust, super attractor, these are the main things you want to focus on. So yeah. Anyway, please let me know in the comments below what particularly was a connected thing for you. I'd love to hear about it. Give this video a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I am wishing you the best. I look forward to seeing the next one. Goodbye.